What if the answers to modern anxiety were hidden in an ancient ritual almost no one talks about? A ritual that needs no app, no guru, just rice, fire, and intention. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes and you will see how this ritual works, why science now validates it, why it never spread, and how you can bring it into your life tonight. My name is Bimal Maharjan. I was born in Kathmandu Valley in Nepal and now live in Boston. I am the founder of Gutsphere, a company inspired by my lifelong journey with health and awareness. In a world obsessed with becoming more productive, more perfect, my ancestors practiced a ritual that asks only this: remember who you are. Every year, on the first day of Newar, New Year, our families gather on the floor. No temples, no idols, no noise, just light, color, and breath. We draw a universe on the ground and sit at its center, not to worship gods, but to honor the soul within. This is Mha Puja, the worship of the self. Born in Kathmandu Valley more than 1,000 years ago, it blends spirituality, symbolism, psychology, philosophy, and practicality, reminding us that peace begins within. This year is different for me. Because of a family medical emergency, we could not perform it together here in Boston. So, I am making this video not to teach a tradition, but to remember it, to feel like I have done it in spirit. Rituals like Mha Puja taught me what healing really means. And today, even across continents, I am carrying that light forward. To understand why this ritual exists, we need to go back 1,000 years to the heart of ancient Kathmandu Valley. Around 880 CE, the Kathmandu Valley was a crossroads of trade and ideas. Monks, merchants, artisans, and poets. Among them lived a humble merchant named Sankadar Sakwa. The people were drowning in debt. Legend says he discovered gold in a river sand, and instead of keeping it, he used it to free the entire city from debt. The king declared a new beginning, a new calendar called Nepal Sambat. And to mark that day, the Newar people created a new celebration, not of kings, not of wealth, not of gods, but of the self. That moment of liberation became a metaphor. If one man can free a nation from debt, perhaps each of us could free ourselves from the inner debts we all carry: fear, anger, ego, regret. And so, once a year, every Newar family performs Mha Puja to release the old, invite the new, and renew the light within. Every ritual begins the same way, with stillness. Before anything sacred happens, the space is cleaned, floors are washed, incense burns softly, and the air changes. You can almost feel the sound of dust settling. In Mha Puja, cleaning isn't about hygiene, it's about readiness. You are not just wiping the floor, you are wiping away the noise. It's a psychological reset that says something new is about to begin. Modern science would call this a neural reset. When you declutter your surroundings, your brain follows. The anterior cingulate cortex, the part that helps you focus and regulate emotion, lights up. That's why feeling peaceful is not superstition, it's creating silence. And once the space is still, we draw the mandala. Each person gets their own, a circle made from rice flour, lentils, and color. It looks simple, but it represents the entire universe. The circle is time, continuity, and existence itself. And you, sitting at its center, are reminded that you are not separate from that universe. You are the universe folded into human form. 5 colors: white, red, yellow, blue, green surround you. They stand for 5 elements: space, fire, earth, air, water. Everything we are made of, everything we return to. When my mother draws it, her hands moved slowly, rhythmically. She is not decorating, she is meditating. And what's fascinating is that neuroscience confirms this. Circular drawing induces a theta state, the same deepest rhythm as meditation. It synchronizes both hemispheres of the brain, calming the nervous system. In that moment, art becomes neurology. Then the lamp, the dio, is lit. A single flame flickers, tiny and alive. That flame is you, your consciousness, your awareness, the oil inside, your life force. When you sit and watch it dance, something happens. Your breathing slows, your heartbeat steadies, your brain shifts from stress to calm. What scientists call it activating the parasympathetic nervous system. That's how ancient rituals regulated physiology long before biofeedback machines existed. Our ancestors didn't have devices, they had rhythm, repetition, and meaning. Then comes Sagun, the sacred offering. A plate filled with an egg, a piece of fish, a slice of meat, a lentil cake, yogurt, and a little rice wine. To an outsider, it might look like food, but it's actually philosophy served on a plate. The egg represents creation, wholeness, new beginnings. The fish is movement, the flow of life. Meat stands for strength, the grounding of the physical world. The lentil cake, stability. Yogurt, purity and calm. And wine, joy, release, and spontaneity. Together, they whisper a timeless lesson. Live with balance. Don't deny pleasure, but don't drown in it. Be grounded but fluid, pure but passionate. And even here, science nods in agreement. The Sagun activates all 5 senses: smell, taste, sight, sound, and touch. When that happens, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin. That's presence. That's gratitude. You are literally programming your nervous system through ritual. And then the moment I love most, the Tika. The illness woman in our home, my mother, dips her finger into a mixture of rice, yogurt, and vermilion and places it gently on your forehead. Right here, between the eyes, where ancient texts say your intuition lives. In modern terms, it's where the prefrontal cortex meets the emotional brain, the seat of empathy, intuition, and awareness. That soft touch does something profound. It releases oxytocin, the hormone of trust and connection. You feel seen, you feel safe, you belong. That's what real blessing feels like. A neurochemical handshake between 2 generations. And finally, at the end of it all, the mandala is wiped away. God, just like that. Hours of care, color, and beauty gone in seconds. And no one cries, no one protests, because that's the point. Impermanence is the final teacher. Everything that begins must dissolve. Even the most beautiful art must fade, but awareness that remains. When you watch the mandala disappear, you are not just watching colored rice scatter. You are training your mind to let go. Psychologists call it exposure to impermanence. It builds emotional resilience, the ability to accept change without breaking. So, within a single evening, Mha Puja teaches everything life demands: how to prepare, how to focus, how to feel, how to connect, and how to let go. It's a complete human loop, from cleansing to creation to dissolution. What my ancestors called spirituality, science today calls emotional regulation, and neuroplasticity. And somehow they figured it out 1,000 years before the rest of the world even gave it a name. 1,000 years ago, my ancestors discovered through ritual what science today measures through MRI scans: how light, focus, touch, and breath rewire the human mind. Mha Puja isn't superstition, it's a human operating system, engineered by intuition, perfected by time, and validated by science. If Mha Puja is so profound, why didn't it spread beyond the Newar community? First, geography. Kathmandu Valley was isolated, mountain ringed, self contained. Traditions evolved inwardly, not outwardly. Second, culture. The Newars were artisans, not missionaries or mercenaries. Their rituals were meant to be lived, not preached. Mha Puja wasn't designed for temples or crowds. It was meant for quiet rooms, for introspection, not spectacle. Third, politics. As Nepal unified under new rulers, Newar traditions became regional. The state didn't promote them, and so they remained local. Fourth, philosophy. Mha Puja's message that divine resides within was revolutionary, even threatening. Most religions centered divinity outside, in idols, heavens, priests. The Newars centered it inside, the self as sacred. That idea didn't spread because it wasn't built for power, it was built for presence. And maybe that's why it survived, because what wasn't marketed wasn't diluted. It stayed pure, waiting for a time when the world would be ready. Today, it finally is, because science, psychology, philosophy, and spirituality have converged on the same realization Mha Puja has embodied for a millennium. Awareness heals. You don't need to be a Newar or even religious or spiritual to practice what it teaches. Here is how to build your own version tonight. First, clean your space. Make order outside to create peace inside. Second, draw a circle on paper, sand, or in your imagination. Third, light a candle. Watch it breathe as you breathe. Offer something small, a fruit, a word, or a thought of gratitude. Reflect on these three questions. What am I grateful for? What am I ready to release? What do I want to renew? Sit in silence for 1 minute. Feel what changes inside you. Do this once a year, once a month, or whenever you need to start again. This is your Mha Puja, not bound by culture, but born from consciousness. Back home in Nepal, my mother lists this ritual, the eldest woman, the rhythm keeper. Here in Boston, my wife leads it now. 2 continents, 1 flame. Continuity across oceans. Proof that intention travels even when we can't. The lamps fade, but the lineage stays lit. That's what culture really is. Not performance, but persistence. That same lesson became foundation for my work. I founded Gutsphere because, like Mha Puja teaches, awareness itself is medicine. Every person can pilot their own health, and we built the co-pilot. At Gutsphere, we combine science and self-understanding so people can reconnect with their inner rhythm the same way my family reconnects every year. Whether it's gut health, mental health, or spiritual balance, healing begins when awareness returns. So please download the app if you want awareness and health, particularly your GI and gut health. 1,000 years ago, this ritual taught that true freedom begins within. Today, science agrees. Focus ritual rewires the brain. Gratitude resets the heart. Stillness heals the body. The lamp may fade. The mandala may dissolve. But the awareness it leaves behind, that's the real light we carry. Tonight, draw a small circle, light a candle, ask yourself those 3 questions. Then tell me, what's your ritual of renewal?